Alright, after a couple of easy sections, we're going to go to a slightly trickier section, but certainly not hard. We're going to be going from fractions to percents. So just like what we were doing before, we kind of started with a percent and we went to a fraction. We're going to be going the opposite direction this time. So recall quickly that if I said write 10% as a fraction, I would have to write 10 over 100, and I could simplify it down by dividing both top and bottom, and I could get to 1/10. This time we're going to start with the fraction and we're going to move to a percent. Let me show you an example of what that could look like. Often, it's going to be really nice. Say they give us the fraction 9/100ths. Write that as a percent. Well, what's really nice this time is the denominator down here. We already have 100. So I know that I have 9 out of 100. So I can write that easily as 9%. Awesome. That was easy and not too bad at all. What starts to happen to become more of an issue is when we have a fraction that has a non-100 denominator. For example, say I'm going to write 1/2 as a percent. Well, there's a couple different ways that I can do this, and I'm going to show you the way that I want you to do these today. Now, I know that some of these are kind of obvious, like, oh, half. I know half of something is 50%. And that is the answer in this case. But I want to show you a different way that we can solve it using our cross multiplication products that we've been kind of talking about in our similar ratios. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up a proportion so that I can solve it. 1/2 equals x over 100. Because I'm saying, how can I write 1/2 as something over 100? Okay, then I would simply cross multiply. And I would have 2x equals 100 times 1, but I don't have to write that. Divide both sides by 2, and I have x equals 50. Put 50 back in, and I have 50 over 100, which then, oops, I shouldn't have put a box around it yet. Now I have a numerator and a denominator, and my denominator is 100, so I can, with much more confidence than before, write the answer as 50%. Let's look at a couple of examples and how we can do this for different problems. Okay, let's take a look at, we're going to write 3/8 as a percent. Alright, let's set up our proportion. And I've got 3/8 equals x over 100. Because I still want to know the same thing I did before. And that is, what would 3/8 equal if 100 was its denominator? Okay, let's cross multiply. And I have 8x equals 3 times 100. Okay, so I can write that as 8x equals 300. X equals 300 over 8. All right. What I could do here is I could do a little bit of long division, but I'm just going to check on my calculator because I'm a little bit lazy, and that's how we can do it if we're doing it within a step. 300 over 8. And we're going to get x equals 37.5. This time I do have a decimal, which is totally fine because I can write this as 37.5 over 100. And whatever I have on the bottom, if I have a 100 on the bottom, whatever I have on the top is going to be my percent. So this is simply going to be 37.5% for my answer. Okay, if you feel like you got it, go ahead and go on. I'm going to do 2 more examples. example 2. Let's take a look at, let me borrow a couple from the section. What are they going to do? We're going to write 9, oops, switch back to the black one so it's easier to see. 9/4 to a percent. Okay, we're going to set it up just like we did before. Immediately what I notice is we've got an improper fraction going on here, which might make it a little bit more interesting than normal. We'll see. Let's do 9/4 equals x over 100. Cross multiply. And I've got 900 equals 4x. So that's going to give me 900 equals x. And if I divide this by 4. So 900/4. And I'm going to use my calculator again. Oops. And we have 900 divided by 4. And that's going to give me 225 equals x. And if I put that back up into the top, it's going to give me 225 over 100. Now what's a little weird here is the number, my numerator is larger than my denominator. But that's totally fine. That doesn't matter because there's nothing about my fraction definition that actually matters about the size of the numerator. All it says is whatever my denominator is, if it's 100, the top is the percent. So I can just take this and write 225%. Good to go. Okay, one more example, and then we will be done. Example 3. Let's take a look at 1/4. 1/4 to a percent. All right, we're going to set up our proportion. 1/4 equals x over 100. We're going to cross multiply. And I have 4x equals 100. Okay, divide both sides by 4. I've got x equals 100 divided by 4. I happen to know if I have 100 and I divide it by 4, I'm going to get quarters or I'm going to get 25. So then if I put that 25 back up to the top, I have 25 over 100. And if I write that as a percent, all I have to do is write 25%. All right? Not too bad. Good luck.